Right, the SD card's broken in the other camera, unfortunately. So we've mentioned last night's threats, which was on and off, which anything to breaking into, knifing you down, to smashing your legs up, to bashing your teeth in, to smashing your head off, to knifing you at the doorway, to shooting you dead, to calling me a child rapist or murderer or whatever, or woman beater. All that sort of stuff was said, but it wasn't bad. It was just here and there. But the banging's a lot harder, less frequent, but the banging's being done harder in that way to suggest those threats I just mentioned. On top of that, going out today is basically, a neighbour says that he's just come back and he says it's quiet for a Saturday. As soon as I get back, I notice go out, I notice straight away the setups and all this heavy action seems to be very, very heavy. So it's being deliberately caused, set up, organising, controlling everyone's movement into my direction to make it as heavy and as awkward and as nasty as they could possibly set it up. And that's the reason I've had 4 threats, being mistaken as Savannah, which are nasty threats, and being photographed about 7 times and a few other things as well. When I get to the bus station, they time that ugly lady after they've timed about 300 times before, especially when I used to go to the library on a regular basis. And she has a face that looks like sick off the floor. Sorry about the term I'm using. And gross looking, unhygienic, and has to apply, basically looks like sick off the floor. If you just look, you think, ugh, that's a horrible face, to that extent. The only thing is that she doesn't look goofy with it, which is separate to the next bit I want to tell you, because that's the sort of people they've been timing in my direction, alongside with rougher people in my direction. So it seems to be a combination of rough people and the ugly looking type that look like sick off the floor with an unhygienic looking face, where they look like they're laughing backwards, and they hard sneeze or hard cough where it can go about 10 foot in front of them when they do cough or sneeze. Because most of these sorts of people are kind of fat, medium build types of people when they look like this, and they're usually aged 25 or older when they look like this. But it's not that it is known to know there is younger people than that have that appearance. So when we get to the next stage, as they've been doing the other day, as I mentioned in the documentary, where they tried hitting me off 8 times, time and controlling vehicles to stop me getting from one place to the other, trying to smash me into the side like a train of vehicles to stop me crossing, and then a slide control movement to stop me doing that 8 times, alongside with a load of other setups and other problems and threats the other day, who had done the same again walking up towards Barrack. There's a whole load of voice sounds coming from animals, anything telling me to fuck people that raped me as a child, to other names as well, to telling me that I'm being smashed in, knifed at, and also to tell me that I'm going to lose my life and go into the fire of hell, and to tell me that when I move to my next place that I'm going to be... They have actually said this, animals have actually said this, or made the sounds to apply that suggestion, that I'm going to be mistaken as Savannah, that I'm going to be smashed in, smashed out on sexual grounds, and that I'm never going to have sex, and that I find it sort of basically as if the creator's corrupt, if you want me to put it that way. But that's nothing I can do about that. So obviously it's interesting that a seagull or crow, whatever, just made that sound when I was saying that. But so we had that. We had loud bikes to erections. As far as the weather goes, it's been mostly rainy and cloudy, but there has been about 2.5 hours of blue skies and sunshine as well, where I've been anyway. I don't know about everybody else, because I'm always cursed, as I told you. So it is actually another kind of sunny day, but not a complete sunny day. So we've had that. On the actual road coming up to where I'm going is busier than usual, but I have known it a lot busier, especially between September and December of 2022, when I first started coming up here. In fact, that's the busiest time period I've ever known it up here. But anyway, that's that bit. There was a Down syndrome man, aged about 45 to 50, kissing and cuddling a girl that looks like Laura, and she would have been somewhere in her early 20s. Now Laura is the same Laura that looks like Laura that works in Tesco's at Highbridge, Burnham-on-Sea or whatever, that I have been mentioning recently. So there's an erotic painting that shows a boy holding a notepad and walking with a torch with a bum bag or whatever. And this lady that looks like Laura, the sexy lady, is shining a torch down on the boy. But the torch is the sunshine, not a torch as such, and it's supposed to be some form of erotic sexual painting, where that Laura fella turned against me. After a couple of times she knew me because people were mistaking me as Savannah and turned her against me. She got in a relationship with Michael, she had kids, and she doesn't like me at all because obviously the twists or whatever. There might have been an occasion where she's thought it was Liam as well, I don't know. Whatever the situation is, she doesn't like me today because of these 2 names. As far as the loud bike is concerned, that's been occurring quite a few times today. Timing the police siren to come out to say you're a pedo has occurred a few times, and I've just had to divert from another direction because the time in the rough in my direction as always. I mean, for many years I've been looking for a partner, and it's been either M5 Fuel explosions where they've taken off the carnival at North Petherton, where a clairvoyant said I was going to get a girlfriend called Chloe at North Petherton Carnival, aged 18, and was going to be a blonde, and she said it's someone that you might know, and she knows that you haven't had anyone, and she was going to help you out. But that all fell through because things like that have occurred all the time. Dating sites are closed down as soon as a lady's been interested in me or whatever, that's a sexual type. Also, they've closed shops, or where I was going to meet people going back to 2010 and before. They've caused road closures, diversions, taken the bus service off. They've done many different things to stop me getting a partner from a dating site in the past. Where the SD card broke, it's caused me to lose about 20 minutes of recording, of mentioning specific things and problems of today, and other bits and pieces that I've put in there, which is linked to today's problems. Well, I'll do my best in finding out what I already put on there, because I've actually forgotten what I've actually already said. So if I can piece it together, I'll do my best, but the likelihood is I'll just continue adding the bits and pieces that are continuing of today's problems. Right, as you can see, there's no way I can fucking get that, and it won't work now. But I've dropped my other camera in the fucking stream. It's not a new camera, it's been used quite a lot, and the SD card's broken. But this wasn't done on purpose, this was accidental. As you can see, there's no way I can get that. You can see it there. I've got photographic evidence, but there's no way I'm going to get that. It's not going to work for you, even if you did. Right, I've noticed that when I've dropped my camera in the stream, the crow's going ha ha ha, but it would be helpful if there wasn't so much fucking traffic being set up as I was trying to do this video. There's the ha ha ha. Can't go any further and that's too much traffic. Crow saying shag, I won't say what it says, but it's not coming out in a very good way. And a time of more rough people in my direction. There's a new van name, just says Smelly Anne. So I don't really know anyone called Anne, but that was one word, sorry. Might as well mention it. Cunt sellers have walked past the farm while people are purchasing pumpkins. I couldn't complete that video mentioning the sun because there's about 300 cars in under 10 minutes trying to avoid the situation of being choked out by a catalytic converter and cruelty fucking setups that occur in my direction, as I always mention. So, as you can see, you know, the weather's changed. It's going to become more blue skies and sunshine all around, as you can see. Go further up, so it's becoming more like that now. Just want to get the evidence, so I'll leave it there. A load of people just shouted that they're going to smash me and the rest of it while I'm playing on the sports field. They can't actually see me, so I'm surprised that they've mentioned my name. Unless someone's phoned them up or texted them to say that I'm walking in the direction where they are, maybe. Because I just passed the village that there's a load of people in. The next thing I was going to mention is the sun issue. It's been one of those days where you can't really say. It's been, definitely not made it until, it's the way it's been patterned out today. It's making it awkward to explain how, whether it's reached half a day of cloudy weather before turning sunny. I think it's safely say it's just about an hour under that. So you can't really count that as a half a day of sunshine, because it's just blue skies now, as you can see in the footage. So I guess, well, you won't see because it's not on it's on the other video, innit? I got the evidence, but it's not on this film because I extract this film into an audio format because it's easier and quicker to put online. But yeah, there is evidence on the other one which I'll put on as a raw footage. So, see what else today holds, shall we? I've done a separate documentary to this just a few minutes ago, but it's not going to be part of the recording of today's problems or the sum or whatever. Yeah, this is about the biggest selling music in the UK and the worst selling music in the UK. Well, the worst selling music in the UK is dark ambient, cult classical, dark classical, early underground, old school jungle, early techno, old school deep trance, Eastern religious music, African chant music, deep soul, mystical deep music genres. The best-selling music in the UK is sexual music, chart music, rock music, pop music, club music, dance music, party music, disco music, country and western, hip-hop and rap, reggae, new school drum and bass, heavy metal, mainstream soundtracks, mainstream classical and Disney tunes. There's a jungle record called Deeper Life by Chimeria, if that's the way you pronounce it. I can't remember what the record label is, but it came out in 1994, and the track sounds like it says Deeper Life, like that, deeper, and it's like those snare drums and bass lines. Well, you know they've actually lost the original recording to that track as well, and that's nearer to a more of a mainstream jungle track. They've actually lost the actual DAT tape to that recording. Right, I want to mention another load of underground jungle tracks where they've lost the original DAT tape or the master recording. Pesce World of Music, Infrared Records, Nut E1 off the Nut EP, which contains 2 tracks, one titled Liquid Affray and the other titled Underwater Fireworks, released on a Bare Necessities record from just another label record company, which is now owned by Night Force Records. Right, the next load of tracks that they've lost, DJ Lee and Gwanj, Too Deep on Legend Records. On the same label, Gwanj and Spinback, The Execution. Gwanj, New Creation. Gwanj, Vinyl Paradise. Gwanj, New Creation, The Alliance Remix. And there's a couple of other tracks that have been lost on Legend Records. Right, the next one is The Alliance, First Impressions on Reinforced Records, released in 1994, originally made in 1993 and produced on Legend Records as an acetate promo. The Anthill Mob 1, 2, 3 Adrian Blunt remix is lost, and there's speculation that Making Ground, Take Me Higher Ragga mix on Rude Boy Recordings, which is produced by Rupert Parks, which is better known as Photech. There's a possibility that track's gone as well. 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Drowning in Her, Tone Deaf Recordings, which I think is a sub-label to Moving Shadow Records. They've lost the original recording to that. And I'll give you a track where they luckily rescued. This was only by chance, by the way. Only by chance, and I had to put it as a bonus track because the quality of the recording's not as great as if they could source up the original recording source. But they did manage to get a second best copy of Lifting Spirits, Will I Dream, on Lifting Spirits Records. So that came to a point where they nearly lost the track, but they managed to get a copy of it, second best, which is not taken from a record basically. So it's still good quality, but it'd be a bit more muffled than what it would be if they took it from the original recording source. Other lost tracks: Intense Paradox, Intense Journey to the Unknown, Intense The Quickening, Intense Time Space Continuum, Intense The Genesis Project, Intense The Dreamer, Intense The Quickening Dope Remix. Every one of those tracks are lost. The original recording source for those tracks are actually lost. However, just 10 years ago they had the original recordings to those tracks as well, but they've got lost as well somewhere along the line. Impact Records, that released happy hardcore tunes from 1994 onwards, late 1994 that is, have lost IMP 22 record, which is Rev P 1994. Darren Bell has lost Coda Space Tech and Orca Intellect. Photech has lost Studio Pressure's Resolution. Ascend and Ultra Vibe, What Kind of World on Back to Basics Recordings, which is a Moving Shadow track, has also been lost. Rough with a Smooth Twisted Girl on Basement Records has been lost. Fast Floor on a Level, Fast Floor Timeless, both of those tunes have been lost on Basement Records. Rough with the Smooth, the original Art of Intelligence, has been lost, and I think they've lost A New Direction, the Jack Smooth remix or whatever it's called, of, I can't remember the proper title. They've lost that track as well. So anyone trying to source up the original recordings of these tracks, they're not going to be able to get the original recordings. They'll have to take it from a record or take it from another second-hand source. 7th Story Projects managed to rescue Green Buddha, the Chamber, from the Poetic Justice label. They managed to source up that tape and take a copy of it. Well, believe it or not, since that time they've lost that recording as well. And Jungle Buddha, Drug Me, and they've also lost Flat 47 No Man's Land, which is on Kick-In Records, which was released in 1994. Mental Power, Unknown Intelligence, which is on the Control EP, which has 2 other tracks known as Dream Sequence and Cool and Sexy. They've lost the Mental Power, Unknown Intelligence track. DJ Ratty, Source of All Evil, has been lost. Also on Formation Records. DJSS, Anything Possible, has been lost. And Dark and Moody Volume 4, which is a promo done by DJSS, that's lost as well. So you can't source up the original recordings to repress any of those tracks. In the techno scene, Orcs 88 has lost Technosis track, which is 1 minute long, which is on a Direct Beat record. You have Technosis, which is Bites 1, I think it's called. And then there's a few other bites on that record. Whereas the one that goes Technosis, State of Mind, the sound of the original Detroit techno, something like that. Well, they lost, I know what it says, but in the middle of cars coming, so I can't say what it is properly. It was like Cult samples, got no drum beats in it. Well, they lost the original recording to that as well. The Freaky, Abandon Me, released in 1993, is lost. Gapper G and Hyper, the Information Centre, on Rough Cut Recordings, is lost. FBD Project, Journeys, on Banging Tunes, produced by Neil Tricks, is lost. All these recordings where they've lost the original recordings to them. About 500 cars walking back, choked by catalyst spikes to erections and all the other fucking problems. Where the government are getting absolutely fucking spiteful. In total, about 300 cars being started, all being fucking put in my direction with a catalyst.